Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a conversation with, and I am your humble host, Floyd Marshall Jr. And as always, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel because I want to keep bringing you guys phenomenal guests like the one that I have with me today. Today, I am joined by the amazing and now multi award winning first time director, Katherine King, hailing from Santa Monica, California. I am so excited to talk to her because she directed her first film. Oh, you know what? Delicate Cycle, correct?
That's right.
Delicate Cycle. Okay, I wanted to make sure that I got that right. Her directorial. Well, let me change that. Her film directorial debut.
Yes.
Let's get that right, because
Yes.
she's done some stage plays. So this is her first foray into filmmaking. But I'm so excited to have you here on a conversation with. And I just want to give you, ladies and gentlemen, a small background on who Katherine King is. Katherine King is a screenwriter, playwright, songwriter, actress, and director. So we have some multi hyphenates going on. And she's also a freelance writer writing across many genres. But she mostly resonates with stories that put forward an entertaining and socially relevant message. And as I said, she began her writing journey in theater, and she's written five full-length plays. So she's no stranger to the pen. So I am so excited to have Katherine King here because we're going to talk about her award-winning film Delicate Cycle. I also want to talk about the fact that you're an avid cyclist, and I also want to talk about the reality show that you're going to be putting together with the dating for that. So I want to talk about all of that. So welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing so great. How are you?
I am phenomenal. So how did you get your start in the film business?
Oh, I'm still working on it.
Okay.
No, it depends on what you consider a start. I have been an artiste, I think, since I was born. I remember writing poems and short stories in my tender years, even elementary school.
Mm,
So I've always been involved in the arts. I moved. I'm from the DC area, so I did acting there, and there's quite a nice, community there. Then I made the big move over to LA about 13 years ago, and I have just explored quite a lot of the types of art. I feel like the only thing I haven't done is be a ballet dancer. I
mm.
feel like you have to get that started really early in age, but but I absolutely am a music person. I love music, songwriting, singing. I'm absolutely a theater person. I love acting on stage, and then I have grown into stage play writing
Hmm.
and even directing, and discovered many things along the way, such as that I really love casting.
Hmm.
I love casting, and I love directing. And The Delicate Cycle, my first film, which we're focusing on today, was very much for me an experiment on, let's just see how it goes if I direct. Because I've written a lot of things. I've done a lot of screenwriting at this point. Um, so you can see I've just had an organic process of many different, as you call it, multi hyphenate. But throw something at me and I'm probably good at it if it's artistic. If it involves
Hmm.
math or engineering, I think you're out of luck. But but as far as the delicate cycle goes, I had already written many things for people, and some of them are produced, some not produced. But in any case, I thought, you know what? I have such a strong vision as I'm writing. Let me see what it's like to have essentially full creative control
Hmm.
over my story. And I am very happy with the result. Of course, I learned so many things along the way, and that's the whole point. whole point of doing something is that you learn. But overall, I'm extremely pleased. I feel like I picked a really good team, which is a big part of it, big part of the battle of making a good film. And I guess confirmed to myself, oh yeah, I love film directing. I had done stage directing already, so working with actors, I feel like it's very natural to me. I am an actor, so I know what their process is. I think I know more or less what how to support an actor
Hmm.
as they're developing the character and such. So I think I can nail that part of it, and then I just
Hmm.
added the part of working on a set, working with cameras, which I was familiar with as an actor, as a writer, in different arenas, but just not as the director, the decision maker. So then I loved the process. I was well supported, I feel, in it. And so I'm very excited to do more when the time comes.
Hmm. So let's go back. So you've been in Los Angeles for about 13, or right outside of Los Angeles in Santa Monica, 13 years, originally from DC. What
Yeah.
made you decide that you had to make that move? What was the deciding factor and why you decided to take your talents to Los Angeles?
Well, the DC area is not shabby at all for acting, for film, for theater. It's actually up there in the cities that have a vibrant art entertainment um, world going on.
Mhm.
But I decided that I wanted to be, just go to one of the major places where you can make a career, a real career out of it and just give it a shot. Now I was a lot closer to New York City. It's only a 5-hour drive, but I do not like the cold at all. So it was much easier for me to go 3,000 miles away and have great weather here. I mean, Santa Monica's super great because even if it's hot in some other place in LA, I mean, it's about 20 degrees cooler here. So
Mm.
I don't know, it might be 80 right now. It's great.
Wow.
So I think weather was a big factor, and just the whole California lifestyle. I think I think I'm a good fit for that, for my
Mhm.
personality. I'm a bohemian artist, whereas in DC, I feel like, there was a great government career waiting for me there if I wanted it. Like a lot of people are commuting into DC working for the government or something. And so I'm much more of cycling around, enjoying the weather, outdoorsy, fitness enthusiast, and just enjoying the Cali lifestyle.
Okay. So did you know anyone when you decided to make this move, or did you just say, you know what, I'm going?
The crazy things I've done in my life. This was not the only or the first crazy, to other people's estimation, crazy, to
Mhm.
me, normal decision-making processes. I did come over here a couple times on a couple trips, look around, kind of do a scouting mission, but
Mhm.
more or less, I didn't know anybody. That's pretty close to the truth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you just took a leap. And when you got here, was it difficult immersing yourself in the acting community, or did you hit the ground running?
Mm, I mean, if you throw a stone, you'll hit 10 actors here, so it's very easy to find actors. I remember I went to an improv group for a long time. That's I mean, if anyone's looking for a recommendation on that, I think improv is great for actors, or just anyone to have confidence. Oh, I have lots of people, lots of contacts immediately. Maybe that's just my personality. I'm very friendly and social, um, and so I met lots of people right away. I ran a writing group for about 2.5 years
Mhm.
at one point. So a lot of people came to that, and so it's kind of a mix of maybe maybe just luck, maybe just being friendly, but I think you find what you're looking for. So I found lots of nice people people to hang out with artistically, and that's what I think the point of LA is. That's where many people are coming here for that, so you're probably going to run into them.
Hmm. So when did you get into writing to stage plays? So you're in Los Angeles. You found a community. You're doing a writing group. When did you go into writing stage plays and producing stage plays? Because as I said earlier, you did five. So were
Yeah.
they all in Los Angeles, or were they in Los Angeles and DC?
Oh, it was just all LA. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, everything just kind of flowing organically. So as I reflect back, that writing group was great, because I kind of was a teacher or a facilitator for other people's writing.
Hmm.
That's what I did. I hosted it, and I helped other people gain some confidence in their writing. I'm a teacher kind of person, so I guess that was natural to me, and I like to encourage other people in their expressions. And then we would also read our work as actors, so we were enjoying that part of it too. And you know what? At the time, I just did it to do it. But out of a lot of the scenes I wrote at that time, I later developed them. I went back to them and I turned them into full scripts. And the first play I wrote, called My Darling Josephine, which was a Western comedy musical, was so insanely ambitious. I think ignorance is bliss works great as an artist, because if you don't know what you're tackling, it's better, because when you do know, is maybe you'll hesitate. So I had no
Yeah.
idea what a monstrosity I was creating for myself, but I pulled it off somehow. So it had original music, it had five actors, it was a West, it was a Wild West thing, but it was a comedy. It was so much fun. It was great. And you know how I ended up doing that? I just was inspired by a scene I wrote in that writing group, and then I just decided to turn it into a play. And then I was like, well, I ought to put this up, shouldn't I? And that's how my journey began. I didn't know anything about producing plays or anything like that. I learned as I went along.
Yeah. You know what? I think, you said something earlier about, ignorance being bliss. And I think this entire business is that way, because if you had a crystal ball and you could look into the future of what it held for you if you decided to get into it, I think 99% of the people would not do it, because
I wouldn't even do it. I wouldn't
no.
even do it if I knew what I know now. But I
Yeah,
sure am glad I did.
yeah, yeah. Because I remember, years ago in my past, I produced stage plays as well, and
Oh,
it
that's
was an
great.
amazing experience. And I said I would never do it again. I said, I will never, ever do it again unless someone gives me a check so big. Because when you're at this level, you basically have to do everything.
That's right.
And it was so involved. And then you have to have rehearsals every day. And then you have to do tech. And
Mhm.
I said, you know what?
Yep.
I'd rather do a film and that be the end of it. So did you find the
Well,
process?
the
How did you
difference
find
between
that
you and me,
process?
the difference between you and me is it only took one play for you to realize that, and
Okay.
apparently it took five plays for me to then come to the conclusion, maybe I should try a film.
Well, it took me two
But
plays.
I sure did have a blast,
Yeah.
and I I creatively challenge myself every year. That was my big artistic project for myself,
Hmm.
to write a new play and produce it every year. It was so intense, so incredibly intense. For like 3 months, I had no other life,
Mm.
kind of thing. But wow, I learned so much. Like I said, I came to realize I actually love, and I think I'm good at casting. There's so much talent here in LA, and even though I also like to perform, I came to realize that I love watching someone else audition, especially as a writer.
Mhm.
It is awesome to have another actor correctly interpret what you had in your mind, and you're just looking at it like, yes, you got it. That is what I meant. That you're my character. That is an amazing artistic experience. And then casting that person because they did a good job, and picking that, gleaning that right person for the job. That is fun, and I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't gone through all that.
Yeah, I
And
think that's one
there's
of
so
the
many talented people here. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of the best things about branching out and at least trying new things to find where you fit.
that's right.
Because I did not I started out as an actor and I am nowhere near that. But I basically did what you did. I did plays, I did short films, feature films, and things like that. And that was one of the best things about being on the production side is to actually see people bring your words to life. It really gave a different. Well, let me ask you this: did it give a different meaning to what you had written when you saw someone embody what you had written and then really bring it off and then play against someone else and you're sitting there asking yourself, did I actually write that?
I'm not sure exactly what your question is, but or if I'm answering it right, but I think that all led to me becoming a director
Hmm.
because I don't think I realized at the time what I would look back and say now, which is I think I had a very strong vision
Hmm.
when I was writing. I don't know that all writers have that just because they're writers. I mean, who knows? I only know myself, but the process of writing it, casting it, producing it at the level that I'm at the
Hmm.
budget I'm at. Of course, it would be better if I had $2 million to produce a play or whatever. But still, it came to life, and it was good. And I think looking back, I realized I had a very strong vision. I knew what it was supposed to look like. I knew how to find the right person, and then I knew how to actualize it on stage, or now in this case in a film. I didn't know, it sounds so funny to say, but I didn't know that's essentially what a director does. I didn't know that was the job description. I think, maybe we could say, because I'm a woman or whatever, I didn't think of that as something I would do. But now I see that is what a director does. They just have a strong vision for the art to come to, and they bring it to life. And so now all of the different multi hyphenates that I've experienced, I think has led me to the directing. Putting all the puzzle pieces together is pretty darn cool. That's all I have to say
Well,
about
that answers it. But you know what? Let me ask you this. If you look back on everything that you've done up until to this point, and then the culmination at this stage of the game is Delicate Cycle. Do you think that everything that you've done as far as stage plays, everything else was basically setting you up for where you are now as a director? Because listening to you talk, I kept thinking she was directing and didn't even know it.
That's totally true. Um, yes, it is totally true. I just didn't have the confidence, and that's okay. I didn't have the confidence some people, I feel like they just have this clear, I want to be a director and this is my thing. I think of myself as an artist. This is what I am. I'm an artist. So it could take the shape of being a screenwriter. It could take the shape of being song a songwriter, or it could take the shape of being a director. I think of myself as an artist. However, now I discovered organically that being a director is, being the puppet master. You can shape it so much, with a team. Of course, you're not the only one, but at least for one film now, I, I have enjoyed that process, and it wasn't so strenuous for me. It was actually very natural for me to boss people around. It comes very naturally to me. But you know what I mean. I mean, you don't know until you try it, I
Right.
guess. Or at least that was my approach. I wasn't like I just woke up one day, I'm going to become Martin Scorsese. That is not what happened for me. It's more like I'm just exploring being an artist, and I'm led to this now, and I think I could do a pretty good job. And it's a good thing to have a vision and bring it to pass. That's really what anyone's doing, right? A painter's imagining something and then they bring it to life. You write something, you brought it to life. And so it's in different ways. And so a director is bringing the film to life. And I really enjoyed that. And yeah, I definitely like to keep exploring that hat.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so do you think that having started out as an actor, that made you a better director because you
110%.
okay.
Now, I don't just say this for my own opinion.
Mhm,
I not only have been told that that's the case, um, I'll mention a couple people now on my team. So Renee Garcia, she is my film buddy at this point. We've worked on several projects and she's already directed many. And so she was my mentor in this process, specifically of the delicate cycle. And she said that I remember she said that to me, "You're a good director because you're an actor, so you know how actors think." Um, I just knew, I just know what they're thinking, and I've been in all those situations where, for example, the director's too harsh, they're yelling. A lot of directors, I feel like, are not in tune with the actors. They just have some idea in their head, and they don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of that. It comes very naturally to me because I'm an actor, because I'm an artist. I'm not asking them. I'm not trying to force a square peg into a round hole.
mhm.
I'm inviting another human being that I greatly respect. Therefore, I cast them. So I know that they can do it. They don't need me to yell at them or dictate everything to them. It's just a matter of my attitude. It was more, I'm explaining my vision and I invite you to join in with me. I certainly would respond well to that. So I think other actors would too. And So that was my approach. And then I also have heard of people who are wanting to be a director, but they have no desire to be an actor. They have no background in acting or whatever. They actually take acting classes for directing purposes, just to
Mhm.
understand what actors think, which is my wheelhouse. I mean, that is what I already am.
Right.
So I think I'm sure there's many different types of directors and different approaches, but mine, I guess I would say, would be organic in that it grew from me doing a lot of the things, at least acting and writing and now directing. So I'm understanding it from those angles, having already lived it myself. I'm
Mhm.
not, I'm not just trying to hammer my my concept to somebody. I already know what they're going through and what their process is myself. So I'm just connecting their process to mine.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about Delicate Cycle. I watched the film, very good film.
Thank you.
And I really love the ending. You know, being a dad of two amazing women. I loved the ending. I'm not going to tell you because you have to go to a film festival to see it for yourself.
That's right.
Um, where did the concept of Delicate Cycle come from?
That's a great question. So the delicate cycle, as just the synopsis, is a boy and a man, two strangers, meet in a laundromat and they become friends. Would you agree?
Yes.
They become friends, and they touch each other's lives. Yeah, I think of it more of a comedy in a way, but then there is a heartwarming aspect of it. So how it came about was, let's go to Santa Monica and cycling. Um, I live off of Ocean Park Boulevard. If any locals are listening, and and so I would ride my bike to a certain coffee shop every day to write. I'm not making this up. It's so artistic, but really that was my little pattern, and I would ride my bike right past the laundromat. And so I got to thinking, what kind of a story could happen in a laundromat? It's a cool, retro looking laundromat. What kind of people would meet in a laundromat? It just kind of fascinated me a little bit. It's kind of intimate act, I think, to do your laundry, but yet you're doing it with strangers in public. That part of it, the intimate life being brought into with a public situation kind of fascinated me. And then combining that with um, just different men in my life, um, boys to men, that, you know, I get fascinated by people that are different than me.
Mhm.
That, I guess you could call that my writer mind. So I'm so deeply curious about people who are different than me in some way. And so males would be different than me. And so at some point, this was something that I was focusing on, and how they react emotionally in a different way could just be the guys I know, but it might be general in that they don't really, they're not going to burst into tears. They're not going to start calling up their girlfriend and saying all their problems. They keep it a little closer to the vest. I don't think society necessarily gives them that freedom. I mean, no one's
Mhm.
going to judge me as a woman if I just start like, going nuts emotionally. They're just going to be like, "Oh yeah, that's what they do."
Right.
But so I have permission to emote. Whereas, even as speaking of acting, all those, strong silent types, I think in the movie, their eyes glisten with tears, and that's about it. As their loved one gets, terribly murdered or whatever, some horrible thing, and they like barely react.
Right.
So we know, this is the stereotype, and it is real too. And then I became fascinated by how I think guys, grown up guys, they just joke things off. They use humor and joking to kind of cope. This is all my opinion, just my observation, not me. And just these little things I observed, they kind of fascinated me. And then specifically the aspect of this is kind of the serious side of the movie, is custody when there's a divorce.
Mhm.
And honestly, there's so much to complain about for women in society, but I do think men get the short end of the stick on that one, usually. So I thought that was an interesting topic to explore from a female point of view, um, because there's just that also artistically. I think there was a like women characters are written by men.
Mhm.
Do they get it right? Does it ring authentically? So as a creative challenge to myself, I thought, well, can I write male characters authentically? Am I observing it correctly? Does it ring true? Um, so far, when I mentioned this, I don't even get much feedback on it. So I'm going to take that as yes, it does ring true.
Mhm.
I hope, because if it just kind of goes by and there's nothing that stands out, maybe it's accurate. I don't know what you think.
Well, you know what? For me, it all boils down to the story. And are you telling a good story? And I think that if you can tell a good story, I think that kind of, ugh, I hate using this word, but I think that kind of trumps everything else. Because if you're telling a true story and an authentic story, and basically the story that you told, I don't want to give too much of it away, but you basically told a story of two people that they were experiencing pain. They were experiencing, you know, the pain of a loss, the loss of, a mom and a dad being together, the father not seeing his kids. And I think that everyone can relate to that, regardless if you're a man or a woman. We've all experienced loss. So I think that's why you're not getting feedback, because someone could look at that and say, "Oh, see, I can relate to that. That's happened to me." If whether you're a man or a woman, because I remember years ago I wrote the two plays that I wrote, and the first one was called The Conversation, and it was surrounding five women that were very successful, but in their love life, not so much. And after the play, all of these women kept coming up to me and asking me, "How did you do that? How did you do that?" And I did what you did, because I listened to a couple of interviews that you did, and you said you listened.
Yes.
You listened. So
Yes.
when I have a lot of female friends, so when they would talk, I would listen, and then I would just basically write down what they told me. So that's
Yes.
why you're not getting, because you listened.
I'm so happy about that. Thank you. That makes my day. But yeah, that's what I think actually, because sometimes people say, how to write good characters and all this. Um, I think it really is just as simple as listening very carefully, being very open-minded, being very curious. Because if you come in with a preconception, you're going to be blocked by truth. Artistic truth is what I'm referring to. So I think I might have sort of some childlike quality to me where I'm not that judgmental. I mean, I can be judgmental in some situations, but you know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like I mostly just take people as they are, and I'm just curious. I'm so interested. I'm just kind of taking them in, and I find that just kind of blank slate, just, feed me what you are, and then I'm mostly just interested. That ends up creating real human characters in some later composite where you take all your life experiences and into your writing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you decide to shoot this film, you decide to direct it. First time ever. Did anyone try to talk you out of directing because you'd never done it before?
Um, no, because I paid for it. So that was a good that was a good advantage because nobody else was telling me what to do.
Right. Your money.
Yes, exactly. But, I was smart enough to gather together people that knew what they were doing, and they knew better than me in their field. So, I think that is important. I decided, I'm gonna do this directing. I'm not gonna be in it as an actor. And this is kind of a funny thing. That script, The Delicate Cycle, I also wrote it specifically so that there was literally no possibility of me being in it. Because
Mm,
knowing myself, I would want to be in it because I enjoy acting. So I wrote it for, a man, a boy,
okay.
and a Latina woman.
Okay.
Specifically so that, you know, that way I could focus on directing. Maybe in some future time I could handle that where I could be in it myself, but I knew well enough that that's quite enough on my plate. And then also, I think my strength is in the creative aspect, being able to work with actors and all of this, but I'm not that strong in the camera aspect.
Mhm.
So then I have this great friend of mine who is the cinematographer, Dave Hawes. He's very experienced and was wonderful supporting me as a director so that I could just focus on the creative. And then, we had a great crew and all of this. So I think that was one of my smartest moves so that despite all the enormous work still required, I wasn't wearing too many hats. That was
O
part of the success.
okay. So, building an amazing team that played that shored up your weaknesses and basically, what's the word I'm looking for here?
They
Showed your
completed
strengths.
me. Yes. Well, it just because I knew because the task at hand for me in my terms was
Mhm.
to direct my first film. So not having directed a film yet, it being my first means that I had a lot to learn. It's going to be a learning curve,
Right.
right? So I needed to put myself in the strongest position to be able to learn and still come, all of the wonderful things that indie film has where everything is very little time and all of this, all that's going to come up. So just giving myself the best shot to succeed by picking the team, picking a very controlled story, only had one location. I had learned a lot of these things along the way by being a part of projects, plays, any kind of situation where things didn't go well. I learned what not to do. So that was very useful. Yeah. So not too much went wrong, not in the creative part of it. Of course, we had one outside scene, which is that ending that you like, and we were gonna shoot it the second day, but then it started pouring rain, which of course it never
Mm,
rains in California, right? But of course it did that day. So we had to switch our schedule, do all these, those type of things happened.
mhm.
Those things are gonna happen. But we
So
got our story. Got it. We got it in there.
okay, okay. So the laundromat that you shot the film, from my understanding, was not your first choice.
I went to the laundromat that I actually passed every day and
Mhm,
got the idea to write the story. I went to them and they wanted big Hollywood money. In this
mm,
town, it's very normal for big productions to be filming. So, I don't know what they wanted, like $300 an hour or something. I'm like, okay, okay, I can't do that. And then, it was just awesome. I went into this laundromat that is literally down the street from me. I mean, I can and do walk to it. And that's on Rose Avenue in Venice,
mhm.
right across the border, Santa Monica and Venice. It's called Rosebud Laundromat. If anyone's around locally, please do your laundry there. They're so sweet. They're a family run business. I think they've been there many years. And I literally just went there and I was like, listen, I'm just a creative person that lives in the neighborhood. I'm not like a representing a big studio or something.
Mhm.
I would love to use your location. Could you please consider it? I went in like 5 or 6 times just talking to the person, and you know what? They were so kind,
Wow.
giving me this amazing affordable price that most people are just like, "What? That's
Mm,
crazy." And they were so kind. I even went over my time because we had to shoot at night when they were closed.
mm.
Otherwise, they'd have to charge me a lot if they had to close their business down. So I
Right.
did it. We did all night shoots and all this stuff. I went over my time. They were so sweet. They were just like, they didn't kick us out. They were like, just clean up after yourselves. So wow, amazing. Please do your laundry there, Rosebud Laundromat. And
Okay.
and I know I really would like to help them because they're so sweet. And LA prices is freaking landlords trying to, push these small businesses out. And that is happening to them where they're trying to push them out so they can get
Mm,
$1 million and all this stuff. So I mean it was nice for me to have that, but some big corporate thing wasn't going to give me that. I just lucked out connecting to them. And it was very similar story wise. It was great. It was like I'm going to say late 70s built laundromat, still looked like that. Very similar to the original one. Um, they didn't renovate. I think there's even some sort of law where they're not allowed to renovate. I don't even
oh,
know.
wow.
But creatively, I loved that it had a retro feel. I don't know what you think, but I was going for a timeless look. I wasn't trying to say it actually happened in the past,
Mhm.
but I just wanted it to be kind of timeless. There's a payphone. I loved that payphone so much. And so it was like it could be several time periods possibly, and I was going for that. So I loved that location.
So the video machine an actual part of the laundromat?
That was so that was so hard production-wise, but yes, they actually had, video games there, which is what I wanted because it's part of my story. But it wasn't actually Miss Pac-Man, so we put
Mm,
that all in post.
okay.
That was, something I would not do again, is try to in my next story, there won't be any video games or anything that requires special effects because it was just a lot for me. I'm not a special effects person, to try to in the end, they did a great job. Henry Lipitov is his name, and he helped me with the special effects and his team, and they did an awesome job. But it was so much for me to tackle technically. But I think it looks great. It's awesome.
It does.
But you learn as you go what's going to make make your film a lot to handle.
Mhm.
Um, but it was cool. We have a video game in it, and it looks cool.
Nice. So you complete the film and you submit it to the Chandler Film Festival. Now, was that the first film festival that you actually submitted it to?
Oh, I submitted it to things like Sundance and all that, but I didn't get
Ooh,
in.
okay.
That
Join the
was
club.
Yeah, that was I mean, I don't know anything. This is my first film. I mean, like I said, ignorance is bliss. I don't
Mhm.
Now I'm realizing as I go, people have teams for this. People have teams to even set up interviews like this, to do PR and all this stuff. I'm mostly doing it virtually all by myself. So
Mhm.
it's all good. But maybe in the next one, I'll see if I could get the budget to hire somebody that knows what they're doing. But of course, I aimed high. Like, I don't know, I have a great film, but I think it doesn't make me particularly unique that I didn't get in. I try not to take it too hard. I think they say, oh, you need a celebrity or you need to know somebody. Maybe they just say that to make you feel better, but it's probably partly true. So, I didn't get into those big ones, but then I don't want to insult Chandler Film Festival. I think they're pretty cool, and that was the first one that it screened at. So that was my
Mm.
world premiere. That was my
Okay.
world premiere in January of this year.
So you
So
screen at Chandler Film Festival and you win.
yes,
So
yeah,
what
best short film.
was that feeling like? The fact that you won Best Short Film?
Very validating. Yeah, because this is my first time. So I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen. And that was a pretty great thing to happen. It was really
Mhm.
great. It was awesome. Yes.
Wow. So what's next for the film? What are you gonna do with it now?
I plan on doing the film festival circuit at least through this year.
Okay.
So we're in June. So I'll give it another, at least, another 6 months of submitting, seeing what happens, what will I get into and all that. I did recently win some different things, which I was really excited. I mean, this all happened like in the last 2 weeks. Independent shorts. We won a lot of things. Let me see if I can remember.
Wow.
So we have Dean Norris Jr. in the film, who happens to be Dean Norris's son. Of course, I want to, mention that.
Absolutely.
Dean Norris from Breaking Bad, if anyone's a fan. But I did not know that when I cast him. So that boy earned his audition on his own. I don't think
Mhm.
that he really wants anyone to know. He just wants to earn it on his own. I would think. So I just loved him. Speaking of casting, he looked like my character. I thought
Mm.
he looked like kind of like an old fashioned kid. That's what in my mind, some old fashioned kid, just kind of moseying around, um, trying to figure things out. And he did a great job. And he won best young actor in the independent shorts, and then just a few days ago he also won that same award, best young actor in indie shorts. So
Wow.
he's
For
won
your
twice
film.
now. That's
For
right.
your film. Wow.
That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now
So
these are
that's
all laurels that you can add to the bottom of your film.
That's right. And then in addition, so then this is independent shorts. Fred Mancuso, he plays the adult guy, amazing actor. He won Best Actor.
Mm.
And then we won Best Comedy Film and Best, I won Best First Time Female Director
Mm.
and Best Original Story. So that one we won a lot of things, and that was really cool. And for me, the most exciting one was Best Original Story.
Wow.
Maybe because it's my story, so I
Right.
appreciate that was, stood out in some way. I loved that part of it, and all of it's great. All of it's great. And then, we got nominated for best original, best first time female director again
Mhm.
in indie shorts, and then best original song. So I haven't mentioned with you here on this conversation that I also wrote the songs that are on the soundtrack. And as being a short film, it's 2 songs, and writing them with Steve Ray Ladson, extremely talented musician. He's playing with Cirque du Soleil right now,
Oh,
and
wow.
then Jimmy Sloan, um, who produced it. So just trying to give everyone their credit. But we wrote the 2 songs. And one of them I sing. That opens the movie. So I don't know if you knew that.
Yes.
You saw it, but that's me singing. And then it's kind of jazzy. I always tend towards jazzy, fun. That's kind of my favorite genre. And then the other song is really exciting because it's a gospel genre, and I wrote that song for Jimmy Carter of the Blind Boys of Alabama.
Mm.
So I don't know if you are familiar with them or you're a fan of them, but they are iconic in the gospel genre.
Mm.
They literally started in like the 30s, and Jimmy Carter, who sings on my song called Sunday's Best, he is the last surviving member of the Blind Boys.
Oh, wow.
He's 92.
So
So
that was
I
the
mean,
gentleman that was sitting in the picture?
that's right. I mean, he
Okay.
started when he was a teenager, like in the 40s.
Wow.
No joke. And he's won 6 Grammys,
Oh, wow.
and he just retired. And he was kind enough and gracious enough to sing my song,
How
Sunday's
did you
Best.
get him?
Jimmy Sloan, the music producer, is buddies with them. So just happened organically.
Mhm.
I keep using that word. So I don't have any master plan. I hope that does, that doesn't make me sound, unprepared.
No.
But these things just happen. They just happen. I think they don't just happen. There's hard work. There's luck. I think there's a lot of divine interventions. I believe in that big time. But so they seem to just happen. But either way, they happen, and it was so awesome um, to be there, just in the presence of greatness. Somebody like that carries a lot of presence with them,
Mhm.
and just recording with him was this amazing experience.
Yeah. Well, I would like to say that, from my viewpoint, listening to everything that we've talked about today, you are phenomenal at building relationships. And I think that that really comes through when you have someone like him do your song. And, you know, when you build great relationships, but more importantly, when you're a phenomenal person, when you're a sincere person, when you're genuinely nice, people will vouch for you. And they'll say, hey, you know what? I know this young lady by the name of Katherine King, and she's doing this great film. You could sing on that. Oh, well, I don't know her, but I know her and I vouch for her. And that is so important in this business, relationships. Can you talk about that briefly? Because you said you built a really great team, but I'm thinking that you had some great relationships with them in order for them to work on your shore. So can you talk about the power of relationships in this business for you?
Absolutely. A lot of these things that you're mentioning are so beautiful. They're beautiful observations, and you're right. I think I don't know if I always thought of that on the front end consciously, but you're right. What I can say is that every opportunity that's come to me has come through a personal relationship. I've most certainly thrown my stuff out there, um, acting, writing, doing, any singing, just into into cyberspace or into some sort of big pot of people. And usually you don't I personally don't get huge results from those kind of things, even though it's always good to try. And then then everything that I have done has come through a personal relationship. So despite supposedly things being about some master plan of marketing yourself and all that you hear about, I would love to know all those tips. I'm wide open to any advice, but I would say every opportunity I've had has just come from somebody that was my friend. And I also put myself out there though, artistically. So it's a combination. I mean, you can't just sit at home and just wait for a phone call. So I put myself out artistically. I don't have really huge, specific requirements of what needs to happen. I just do my thing, and then the relationships do tend to come, and then something seems to come out of that. And wow, I have met and worked with a lot of great people. So that seems to be working for me. Yes.
That's good. And you know what? Look, there's a saying in this business: people work with people they like. And
Yes.
I've found that out, on my journey. No one wants to work because you're on a film set for a very long length of time. Sometimes you're on a set 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Why would you want to be on a set with someone and you're miserable? Because a lot of people say it's like a marriage. When you're going into this, you're basically married to this entire crew for a length of time. And with your film, as well as it's doing, that gets extended because you're doing the festival run, you're winning awards, so you guys are in each other's orbit for a longer period of time. Now imagine if you were in it with someone that you didn't like, and how difficult that would be. But I'm so glad that everything is working out for you. But I really wanted to ask you about the reality show that you are about to do, because I was listening to another interview that you did, and when you were talking about that, I said, "Now that sounds interesting." So can you tell us about that?
Rickshaw Romance.
Rickshaw Romance.
That's right. Yes. So first of all, I surprise, surprise, I have a side hustle here in LA. Okay, so I do pedicabs. Do you know what pedicabs
Yes.
are? So a lot of people don't. So it's the driver sits in the front on a bicycle, and then it's a carriage ride basically for people in the back. It's just that the horse is a human. So so you're taken around. It's a very fun vacation, tourist or special event fun thing. I've done this for a lot of the years I've been here now,
Hmm.
probably 10 years. It's been a big experience for me here in LA. It's very matching with my ideals of being eco-friendly, exercising, being outside. My office is the beach. Lots of fun, lots of crazy stories. So then out of these real life experiences of just making some cash, um, I, of course, have to make it into a show because I'm a creative person. so, so I have another treatment I wrote about the crazy experiences I've had. That's another story. But this Rickshaw Romance is based off of, first of all, that I know people have a good time on a pedicab. They open up, they realize, oh my gosh, this is so fun. I don't have to look at my phone. I'm having a good time. I'm in the open air. I'm with someone such as myself that's, kind of a guide, kind of helping me have a good time. And then if it's, maybe there's a lot of couples that do it. This is all based in things that already happen. A lot of couples do it. It could be a romantic thing. It doesn't have to be. It could be friends. But a lot of times it'll be a couple that hires me to take them up and down the beach. So from there was born the concept of Rickshaw Romance, which is that we're going to take dating candidates on a blind date. They never met each other before. And in the time it takes to go up and down the beach, they will get to know each other right on the back of that pedicab with the
Mm.
help of the driver host, being a impetus to this budding romance. And so we're going to see what happens. Do you like the person? Do you not? Would you like to go on another ride with them? You hate them. And so, we might get a kiss, we might get a slap. I think it's a natural I think it's a natural incubator for a little bit of fun, lighthearted drama. And I've seen it play out in real life. So I know that the elements are there for a good time. And whenever I share this concept, people love it. Many times people say, "Can I be one of the people? Can I go on this
Oh,
show?"
oh.
So they're excited about the idea, to go on this blind date. Also, I love it because I'm a little bit of an old-fashioned. I like old-fashioned things. That's one thing I like about the pedicabs. That's why I like that for my business. It's analog, and so I think, also a lot of people always complaining about dating. I always hear a lot of people complain about online dating and all this stuff.
Hmm.
I think people are ready for scenarios where you just meet people in, IRL, in real life. I think
Yes.
that would be very appealing in general. What happens when you just see somebody for the first time? You don't get to read their profile, check out everything about them, their online history for the past 10 years, and find 10 references. You just have to go off of your first impression, chemistry, good old fun times like that. So,
Okay. So now, how is that going to work? Because what you just said, you're not going to be able to, look at their online history and things like that. So, how are you going to find the candidates? So, are you guys going to find the candidates and then sit down and say, okay, well, I think she will look good with him, and then take them on a ride, or how is that going to work?
I mean, it's still in development.
Okay.
Exactly how we do it. I'm open to your suggestions. I personally imagine me getting candidates, applicants, which provide me with some sort of profile.
Hmm.
And then I think I will enjoy It's kind of like casting, actually. I said I enjoy
Yeah.
casting. I would like to match the people up of what might make a good couple, or just might make good entertainment.
Hmm.
Maybe they won't like each other, but based off of these applicants, and their profiles, me putting that together to form the show. But they don't get a choice. So, it'll be my decision.
Wow. Yeah, and that could actually be a part of the show before you guys hit the road. You're sitting in your office, and you and a couple other people. Oh, well, he's handsome, she's cute. I think they would. Well, what do you think of this? Well, let's look at the. Oh, well, I don't know
Yes.
about him because she likes dogs and he likes cats, and so that
Yes.
that 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 should be, because there's a dating show that my wife and I watch. Millionaire Matchmaker.
Oh, yeah, I've watched that
Yeah, we watch
before. Yeah,
Millionaire
yeah.
Matchmaker, and we sit there when they're going through the applicants, and we're like, nah, when we see who she's going to try to hook the woman up with, or the guy,
Yeah.
and they start going through the applicants, we're like, nah, you know what, nah, he wouldn't work. So I think that would be a phenomenal portion. So see, now my creative brain is racing, because now I'm
That's
thinking,
a good sign.
so where would the camera be? Would it be like a GoPro, or you guys haven't worked that out? Because right.
I plan to work with the same team because I like them
Okay.
so much, because we enjoy working together. So, Renee Garcia and Dave Haas, and we've
Mhm.
actually already planned a lot of the technical out.
Okay.
So yes, it would involve probably GoPros, attaching them to the pedicab, and then another pedicab can serve as a follow camera. So the official cameraman, with a more typical camera, not a GoPro,
Mhm.
can also follow in a separate pedicab to get different angles and things like that.
Mm.
We've already plotted that part out, so I already have that part of it, I think, covered. So yeah, that part will be great.
Yeah, you are really onto something here,
Oh, good. I'm glad you like it.
really, because dating is brutal. I have two grown daughters. dating is brutal. I listen to their stories, and and you know what, Catherine, I think it's what you said about meeting in real life. People are so busy now. And I'm a big proponent of social media. That's part of what I do. But I've met my wife the old-fashioned way. We've been married for a very long time, so there was no social media when we were teenagers and got married. But I think social media has done a real disservice to real relationships and people actually connecting and getting to know each other as just people, as opposed to, well, how many Instagram followers do you have, and what was the last post you put on Facebook, and things like that. I think that's gotten a lot of people in trouble when it comes to relationships. So the fact that you guys are going to do this show where phones off, you're going to sit and you're going to talk and you're going to get to know each other, and you're going to
Yes.
find out some things about each other and to see if you're compatible and if you want to take this to date number two. I think that is absolutely amazing.
And by the way, you're sitting pretty close. You're sitting close to each other.
Mhm.
So, you know, back, before you could check out every angle of somebody, to see what you thought of their picture, just chemistry of being near another human being, that's the type of data that we've had for, hundreds or thousands of years to know if
Mhm.
you like somebody. So it's just an old-fashioned fun thing that, having fun, limited time. What do you think? It's pretty simple.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to seeing the first episode. I will definitely be looking out for that. But this has been absolutely amazing. I'm so happy, with all the success that Delicate Cycle is having. I can't wait to see what's next from you besides the reality show, the love reality show that you have coming up. Wow, you may blow up. You may blow up with that. Um, I think that's going to do really well. I think that's going to do really well. Um,
Oh, I'm thank you for that.
Yeah, I think
That vote of
you know what?
confidence.
It's going to be hilarious. You're going to have some scenarios.
Yes.
I could, I could just see two people who don't like each other having
I
to sit.
I feel sorry for that, but it will be entertaining for the audience. So that's, it's still good.
Oh, you know what? Oh,
It'll be
good.
good if
Oh,
they like each other, good if they don't like each other.
see, I just had a thought, because I remember a dating show where if the two people didn't get along, they would match. They would try to match the two people with two other people that didn't get along. They say, okay, well, this guy and this girl didn't get along. How about we ask them if they'd like to go on a date with this person because they didn't get along with their date. So let's see if you guys are compatible. So there are so many. I mean, there are so many
Yes.
possibilities with this. It's not funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very relatable.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
So
is. So, in closing, what advice would you give anyone deciding that this is the business that they want to get into? What would you say to them, especially young women?
oh. Hmm. Uh, if you like working 10 times harder than in any other vocation, then do this one. Where there's no guarantee. It's kind of like a Vegas crapshoot. What, is it, the odds are completely insane, but you still enjoy it, then you might have a chance. So definitely it has to be your passion. That's very cliche, but the only really way that you can find out if it's for you is to try it. You have to try it. You have to throw yourself in there. I think maybe that's been a quality that's worked for me, is I'm willing to throw myself in and see what happens. So you learn along the way. You have to step out. You have to try something. You have to be willing to fail. You have to be willing to work really hard. Take advice. Take feedback. Go back. Try again. Readjust. But overall, this has to really do it for you. This has to thrill you. And so that would be how you know, is if it's thrilling for you, despite the fact that it's not going to be easy. But if you're so thrilled by it, you love it, it fills your heart, and you just keep on, like you were saying, you're like, I'm getting my creative juices flowing. If this is just how you work, then then this is for you.
Yeah. Well, Katherine, thank you so much. And where can people find you on social media? Where can they find you?
The best place to find me is on Instagram. My personal Instagram is catking310. So that's with two T's, Cat King, and then 310 is the area code, the west side. And then I do have an Instagram for the film, the Delicate Cycle film. So I post pretty regularly on that. And then the songs are on SoundCloud. You can just look up the Delicate Cycle, so you could listen to the music there.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you follow Katherine King on Instagram and all other social media platforms. Head over to SoundCloud and take a listen because the songs are phenomenal. It's a great movie. It definitely has a message without being overbearing. It just puts it out there. And again, the ending was the best part for me because it's interesting how kids can teach you things and you're not
That's
even looking
right.
for it. And the young man, he thought he was going, the the dad thought he was going to do laundry, but he was there to get a lesson. And that lesson was the catalyst for him reconnecting with his kid, which is always an amazing thing. So thank you so much for making such a phenomenal film. I am looking forward to seeing what you do next. I am definitely looking forward to the dating show. I cannot wait to see it.
I will
I
keep
am
you
really,
updated.
I am really excited about that.
Okay.
But this was absolutely fun. You're
Everybody out
definitely
there,
going to have to come back.
contact me to apply for to be an applicant. We're just going to get started now.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to have my web manager specifically put this clip up. So if you're talking, because
Okay.
she normally puts different clips up, but like you have to put this clip up for the dating, and then I'm going to put, hey, if you're trying to date and you're in Los Angeles,
Send me
you,
a headshot and a paragraph about you. We'll
oh
start with that.
wow. See, here we go.
Rickshaw
See that?
romance.
Wow. See, not only are we filmmakers, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get into the love connecting business. Why
That's
not?
right.
Why not? But ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you so much for joining myself and the amazing Katherine, multi-award winning filmmaker King. This has been absolutely phenomenal. And again, please follow her on all her social media platforms and subscribe to the YouTube channel because, like I said earlier, I want to keep bringing you phenomenal guests like Katherine. So, yeah, this has been great. And I'll end it as I always do. Treat it like a hobby, but well, no, love it like a hobby, but treat it like a business. I'm so excited. I got tongue tied on my closing, but love it like a hobby, ladies and gentlemen, but treat it like a business. And on that note, everyone have an absolutely phenomenal, phenomenal night.
Thank you so much.